there, everybody out there who's thinking about travel. My name is Geraldine, and I am with Travel Chicks. I work with Melissa Mackey, whom you know from various social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We are the Travel Chicks, and today I am speaking with Kim Dryka from Education First EF, Education First EF Go Ahead Tours, and we're just going to chat a little bit today about what's happening in the travel world, in the travel industry, and then we'll zero in on a few key trips that Kim is talking about have been bestsellers in this last while as people are thinking about travel and feeling like some of the restrictions are lifting and some of the COVID numbers are down and we're feeling a little safer to start thinking about our travel plans. So welcome, Kim.
Thank you for having me, Geraldine.
This is wonderful. This is wonderful. I thought we'd have a little fireside chat.
Yes,
I'm in
lovely.
Edmonton. You're in Toronto. We are very chilly in Edmonton still. So we are warming our hearts today with some lovely conversation. So you and I connected, and I feel like we have some really great synergies in terms of what we value and what we believe in and what we're looking for in terms of travel. So tell me a little bit about EF Go Ahead Tours and what attracted you to work for this company in particular.
Thank you. Well, EF actually is 66 years old. So we've been in the business for quite some time. Our CEO is in Sweden, and he had this great idea of taking students into the world to actually learn. So instead of a textbook sort of thing of history, architecture, all that sort of stuff, why don't we go see it for real? The other thing that really sold well was languages. So learning different languages. All of these really cool things to learn. But what started happening was the teachers that were going on the tours were like, I love these tours, but I'd love to sit down and have a glass of wine, like with something like this in the background. So the kids are, so we went ahead and did Go Ahead. And that is the adult version of the Education First packages. So they're very similar in structure, in that it's about education, it's about cultural immersion, it's about learning new things, learning how to live a different way. Food, we do like a lot of farm to table type things, wine tasting, all these really cool things, but for adults. So we've got more free time. The accommodations are much nicer, more centrally located, and we actually have a glass of wine with dinner.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's wonderful. I really love the focus on, having fun, traveling, and then also incorporating the learning environment and supporting local, learning about some local traditions and customs, and really immersing yourself and having an experience of a lifetime. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So tell me, Kim, I know we were just chatting briefly before we started. You're saying travel bookings are really picking up. So what are you seeing? People are really starting to think about their travel plans. What's really popular right now?
Yeah. So what we're starting to see, and what I've started noticing in far as some readings and things like that, people are really going to do their bucket list stuff now. They haven't traveled for 2 years now. They've got their travel money, their savings. Not that the Mexicos and the Cubas aren't fabulous vacations, but people really want to get out and see the world now. This has really done a number on a lot of people being in the four walls for 2 years now. So we're seeing a lot of higher end tours selling, like our Australias, our big bucket Hawaiis with the volcanoes and all that sort of stuff. So some really cool tours coming down the pike, but also less apprehension. The government has lifted our ban now. And of course, we don't have to have our PCR testing to come back in Canada now, which was apparently a nightmare. And a lot of the countries are opening now. So it's really looking like travel is going to start to pick up. So that's been great news for everybody who loves to travel.
So just to clarify, so we've lifted our non-essential travel ban, that is not in place. And then you're saying that the PCR testing to re-enter Canada, that's no longer a requirement. Very Very good. Good to know. So before we delve into some specifics, then tell me a little bit, because I know it's forefront on people's minds, about your COVID policy that you have in place, and what is there to sort of really help protect people that, you know, might end up somewhere, might end up testing positive, if they have to deal with those types of circumstances. What does EF say about that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Our tour company is the only one that actually offers this. It's called the COVID Care Package. Now, it is completely free to all Go Ahead travelers and EF travelers. And what it entails is this. If, God forbid, something does happen while in destination under our umbrella, so with our guides, with our groups, we will take care of all the extra expenses that may come up due to something like this. So we would get an accommodation set up for you. We would pay for that. We would pay for food. We would pay for the different flights that you may have to take home. We pay for all the testing. Anything that goes over and above the tour aspect, if something were to happen, Go Ahead will cover that cost. We call it the COVID Care Promise. And it's stamped, and all of our travelers are entitled to this. Like, I think it's more support. I find it as a support. Like, we're just there to make sure that there's no stress while traveling, because nobody wants stress.
Right. And would that be covered within your package prices, or is this something additional that people would purchase?
Nope, it's completely free. It's offered to all travelers that travel with Go Ahead, completely free.
Okay. Fantastic. And then also, just so people are aware, perhaps in addition to that, of course, you still want to be getting your insurance, your medical insurance for any medical that may occur, whether that's COVID related or otherwise, which is what people want to have no matter where they're traveling, really. And with Travel Chicks, we certainly talk about that with all of our customers, and we have a really fantastic relationship with Manulife Insurance, and always recommend that people get their travel insurance before they go. And for the most part, it's very reasonably priced, and it's certainly worth the peace of mind, because the last thing you want to do when you're trying to get away and relax and de-stress is worry about what potentially might happen with your health, and or if something were to happen with that. So that's great.
100%. In particular nowadays, like after the pandemic, I think that you have to make sure that your investment is covered with insurance, because you are putting money out there. You are, it is an investment, and you cover your cars, like any investment, we put insurance on. So it's really, really important nowadays to get insurance for travel, 100%.
For sure. And I think that's something that individuals, a lot of people learned the hard way was, the question of why should I go through a travel specialist, a travel consultant? I can book things on my own over the internet. And I think, just to have somebody who has your back, who's thought of all of these things ahead of time, it's worth it to work with a travel company, with a travel specialist, so that you have the peace of mind of knowing exactly that somebody's got your back on this, and you have somebody to help you if you encounter any problems. You're not just left on your own trying to figure out, some of these nightmare stories where you're in Mexico and you're having to figure out your own extra costs for flights back, or wherever you might be, flight back, accommodation while you're there, if you have to quarantine and all of those things. So that's wonderful. Yeah. Okay. So let's get to the juicy stuff. So tell me, I think we were talking about, just to kind of highlight today, because you've got tours that go all over the globe, different lengths and different price ranges and activities. So we wanted to talk today about some of your best sellers. And if I understand correctly, Costa Rica is one of them. So why don't we start off with Costa Rica?
Sure, 100%. And I know that when you and I started having our conversations, you had mentioned that wellness and adventure and all of that sort of thing was something you were really going to focus on and have a little bit of information on as well. So with our Costa Rica tour, it is literally that. It is literally exactly what you're describing. So we have everything from feeding the birds that are there. We've got the rainforest excursions where monkeys come and jump on your shoulder. We've got the volcanoes that are old, that used to erupt. Obviously, we don't send you to a volcano that's going to erupt now, but you get to see all the aftermath of the volcanoes. There's morning siestas and meditation and lots of yoga and farm to table. So food that you're picking fresh from the gardens and bringing it to the table and eating it. Just one of those. And because people are like, you know what? As much as I want to get out of the cold, say, for example, Canada, you don't necessarily, you want to do stuff as well. You want to be sort of involved. You want to learn the culture. You want to kind of see where you're visiting. With our Costa Rica tours as well, there's lots of relaxation and rest time as well. So it's a mix of both worlds. So Costa Rica is one of our absolutely best sellers. In particular, too, to go to Costa Rica right now, that you don't need anything. You just need your double backs.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Wonderful. I'm just going to do a little screen share here just to show a couple of the options that people have in terms of, I'm on Sicily. I'm ahead of myself. Okay. We are on Costa Rica. Okay. So one of the tours is Costa Rica, rainforests, volcanoes, and wildlife. And so you can do 9 days or 12 days. And then we've got a week in Costa Rica, which is San Jose, Arenal, and Guanacaste. Are two of the ones that are highlighted here. And then we've got another one that's highlights of Central America, Costa Rica and Panama. And I noticed you've got a travel sale on now, which is going through February 28th to save up to per tour. So that's awesome. Yeah, I think these Costa Rican adventure ones, what I noticed is that you have a lot of meals included and you have a lot of activities included. So when you're looking at the prices, that's something to take into consideration. You've got transfers to and from. The only thing that people would have to incorporate extra would be their flights. Is that correct?
That's correct. But we organize them. So you just have to tell us what gateway you want to fly out of, and we'll organize your flights for you. It's easier that way because when your guide comes to the airport to pick you guys up, you're all kind of together, right? And you can meet your group and off you go. But yeah, the pricing is also inclusive of experiences that are very, very unique. So very few tour operators offer the experiences that we do. They're just way off the beaten path. So just to keep that in mind, our guides are also trained by us. So they're not, we're not contracting out anywhere. They've been trained by us and they live within the destination that you're visiting as well. So there's a lot of really good support that you get from us and a lot of different cultural immersion off the beaten path packages that are very hard to find. So that's where we're unique.
Wonderful. And let's talk a little bit about the group versus solo travel. So Travel Chicks prides itself on, having experiences that people can join, particularly for the female solo traveler, in the sense that, it doesn't necessarily mean you're single. It just means you're traveling solo. There are people that, they're not necessarily traveling with friends or with a spouse or with a family member, but they want to travel. And so one of the places that we're going to be sharing this wonderful travel talk is with the members of our meetup groups. We used to meet in person. We used to gather monthly, and we'd invite someone such as yourself to talk about their travel company and what they have to offer. And then people would they'd meet, they'd mingle, they could meet up with people, and it would happen kind of organically, where they might say, hey, are you interested in this? And let's join together. Or we, as travel specialists, would gather the names of people who are interested in particular trips, and we can put together the group. We can do that. We can help facilitate that. there may or may not be enough people for one particular group on one particular date. So tell me a little bit about your approach to that in terms of if you have an individual or a small group, do they join another group, or how does that work?
Yeah, so they would join another group. But if you guys sort of organized your group from within yourselves, within Travel Chicks, and you got, a couple people signed up for the Costa Rica one, for example, and but they are solo travelers and they would have to pay that single supplement fee that everybody hates. If you got your group together, you can send your friends, family, if they know each other, introduce them, and they just come together on the tour, and they're, roomed with each other, and they already would have met each other. So the price for single supplement, in particular for tours, is quite pricey, unfortunately, but it is what it is. So that's a really good thing where you might be able to facilitate an amazing, sort of experience for everybody to join together. If not, if they do just want to travel on their own and you're not having anybody else sign up type thing, we do have our solo traveler program as well. And the tours aren't as many. We don't have as much variety for those, but we do, make sure that we look at that cost for the solo traveler. So it's not as hefty as it could be. So we do have that program as well. But I feel for what you're sort of facilitating, it'd be best that you kind of get a group of people together, introduce everybody, have like a nice Zoom meeting, a virtual, get to know, have some wine. Everybody knows each other at that point, and then all travel as a group together and save that huge amount on single supplements.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's really what we're hoping to do, to follow up after this, is to be able to connect people and to be able to put together some of those groups so that people have someone else to travel with. It, as you say, it reduces the cost. You have a little community that you're traveling with.
Yeah.
What size are the groups that you have that go?
Yeah, so we have the right size advantage, which is very rare for tour operators because our larger tour operators have a group size of 55. Ours are between 12 and 30, so substantially smaller. And some of our even smaller group tours are only 12. So we try to keep them nice and small so it's interactive. People can ask questions. They don't feel so crowded. There's lots of space, lots of room, lots of availability to sit in restaurants where you want to sit, get your spots, all that sort of stuff. Plus, you've got your tour guide's attention. Better, right, than having 55 people. So we do have the right size advantage. The other thing we offer is private as well. So you can opt for a private, which means you would have nobody from a public departure on the tour with you. It would be just your group and the tour guide. So that's an option as well. We also do customization. So lots of different, very flexible.
Okay, wonderful. And I can try to, afterwards when I provide contact info, we can always try to vet those types of things and group similar alike and see what people's interests are. Great. So besides Costa Rica, another one that was kind of intriguing me was Sicily. And so I'll share the screen a little bit here. I'll go over there and you can tell us a little bit about what you have. If I can get there to see what you have for Sicily. So we've got Sicily, a cultural journey, and we have Sicily for solo travelers. I know you yourself are actually going on something. We've got a week in Sicily, Palmero, Syracuse, and Taormina. Then we have food and wine, southern Italy and Sicily. So there are a number of choices. Also have Italy, journey through Italy, Milan to the Amalfi Coast. So tell us a little bit about Sicily.
Yeah, so I'm going on the food and wine Sicily tour. And the reason why I picked that one and kind of honed in on Sicily as well is it's not commercial. It's not as commercial than, your Rome, your Tuscanies, your Florences, which are still, I totally recommend. Please go see those. But this is a little bit more quaint. And in particular, the food and wine, you actually go and pick your own grapes. You stomp on them, you do whatever you need to do. You make your own wine and you actually can sit down and have a glass of wine that you cultured. The other thing it does, it teaches you how to make pasta, like fresh pasta. We go from farm to table. We pick the fruits, the vegetables, all of the beautiful olive oils and things that they grow there, and they bring them to the table, and we make these amazing meals, and we eat them ourselves. So I'm a huge Italian food person and a wine person. So this was totally my first choice of where to go. We do have a lot of food and wine tours, which are really, really good for your wellness stuff as well, right? Because you can't really do a farm to table in another destination except for with us. So it's a great experience.
That sounds amazing. Mm-hmm. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
The last two we had briefly touched on were so a little bit more on the sun destination end of things was Belize. Tell us a little about Belize.
So Belize is similar to Costa Rica in that it does have the rainforest aspect to it, but it has a lot of local stuff that you do. Like you actually make drums from scratch. Like you get these like hides and you make these drums and you do it with the indigenous people there in Belize, and you play these drums and you learn all of these really cool stuff. Like Belize in particular, the island area is very different from anywhere else. So it's actually a very cool culture to actually get to know. The other thing too, obviously you do get your beach time. So that's why these tours seem to be kind of popular, in that some people do want to go and lie down and have their pina coladas on their chaise lounges, which everybody loves, especially what we've gone through. But then it also gives you the option of doing some amazing excursions that you're never going to find anywhere else. So both tours are absolutely fantastic for Canadians.
Oh, I'm getting so excited about this. Yeah, I don't know how many tours I can go on myself, but I'm ready to sign up for everything here. Yeah. So, and just to clarify, so I might be on some of these trips that we're putting together, but EF Go Ahead Tours will always have their own group coordinators, people who are experts on the ground in the local communities. They are really our point people for all things tour related. And then, I might be, for example, sort of a liaison person for the group with the coordinators. So there's always lots of support.
Yeah. And we have a 24/7 hour service as well. So we've got 24/7 travel support, 1-800 number where it's manned all the time, which very few tour operators have that as well. So yeah, lots of support.
Awesome. Last but not least, let's talk a little bit about another one of your bestsellers. You were telling me about Greece.
Yeah, so we have several tours that do Greece because Greece is so unique, and there's so many different aspects of Greece, right? You've got your ancient cool stuff to check out in Athens, but then you've got your amazing islands. So we've kind of combined both together. So it gives you both the architecture aspect, and the food and wine and beach aspect within the islands, plus the boating between the islands. We've got sunset sails, all sorts of really, really cool stuff. Greece is a very, very popular destination, and there's a reason for it. I would love to go back, honestly, especially Santorini Island. Oh my God, you have to have an appetite, let me tell you, because you will eat. So definitely.
Pick me.
Yeah. Greece is definitely one of our bestsellers, and there's a reason. It's a fabulous award-winning tour.
Wonderful. And I know you've got many, many, many more destinations. Yes. I just wanted to touch on those 4 today. But there are more options. There's lots of dates now. In terms of booking, what are you seeing? I know we were briefly talking about Costa Rica, and you were saying it's booking quick. A lot of these are booking up quickly. So we're looking at 2022 and beyond. People are booking into 2023. If people are still a little hesitant to be, saying, well, I don't know, even this year, I'm still a bit hesitant. So it's not too early, I believe, to be planning ahead. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. And there's several reasons for that. One, we've got all of these rebookings that have to have space. So all of the people that were booked for 2020 and 2021 are now being rebooked into 2023 and 24. So space is literally getting limited. The other thing that we're going to see trend is as soon as, travel gets right back to normal and resumes, we're going to see a huge increase in the pricing because of lost revenue within the industry. $1.2 trillion the travel industry lost during this. So there's going to be, so as soon as you get that demand back, right, the supply. So they're going to be able to raise that price quite a bit. So I always say, pick your tour for even 2023, even 2024, because you lock it in. It's locked in. It will not get, the price will not increase. Even the flights are locked in. So as much as travel is going to go up, because it will, I guarantee it, you will not, yours will not. You're locked in. Plus you're getting your destination and your departure dates. Because a lot of people are like, I can't go then. But if you go ahead and go into 2024, you're going to be able to, lock in your dates as well. So it's really win-win.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So we've got the long-term planners, lots of pent-up demand. For those people that are saying, hey, I'm ready to pack my bag and I'm ready to go, do you have dates left in 2022 for some of your tours?
Yes, we do. So we do have some Italy and Greece departures in 2022. We've also got Canadian departures too. We've got a lot of amazing tours in Canada. We've got the Maritimes, we've got the Rocky Mountain, we've got the Newfoundland adventure, we've got a whole bunch of those. And we've also got a lot of, there's some really cool ones in the States too. We've got the parks, right? The other ones, like I said, Costa Rica, Belize, Panama, all of the hot areas, they're still open for travelers. And it's easy to get in there too, by the way. So yeah, there's definitely openings for 2022. But then there's also some great opportunity to lock something down for 2023 or 24.
Perfect. So we need our passport. I'm one who needs to get my passport updated. And then just to clarify, so your tours are requiring the vaccinations, a double vaccination. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, very good. So we need our passport, we need our vaccinations, and we need our bags packed. And then we just need our dollars, which we've been saving. And I think it's great. I know that the flights aren't included in those prices. I know that you're able to secure some very good flight prices. And then there are those of us who have a lot of points saved up. So we can always use our points and book our own, or through you or ourselves. We our points to book flights, and then we can still benefit from having your transfers available, making sure that we meet up at the correct times, the right places, but we could also add on some extensions if we want to. So there's tons of flexibility, I believe, there for that. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, we just ask that if you are going to book your own flights, just let us know the flight times, the flight number, so that we are there to meet you. Perfect. But yeah, absolutely. But we also do book your own if you don't want that headache. So yeah, both is perfectly fine. Whatever you guys want. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know lots of people have had flights that, they've got vouchers for future travel, right? That they need to use up probably within a certain amount of time. So lots of those kind of ready to go for travel as well. Well, it's been such a wonderful time talking about travel. I'm so excited. I believe that we're finally getting there in terms of being able to make our plans and feeling relatively secure that we, the plans that are going to be made are going to follow through and not get interrupted this time, we hope. Fingers crossed, but it's looking more hopeful. It's looking promising. And we at Travel Chicks are here to help facilitate those solo travelers, or if you have somebody that you want to travel with and join another group, we are ready to help make those connections. And you are my go-to person, Kim. So I'm going to be the liaison between those that want to travel and those that want to book through EF Go Ahead Tours. I think that you have amazing options. And like I said, we have our consumer buying power in terms of where we want to put our dollars, the type of travel we want to have, the type of travel that we want to support, and the types of experiences that we really want to have, because we've been waiting a long time.
Yes.
I just think that EF Go Ahead Tours has some amazing opportunities at a very reasonable price point, very well organized. There's the experience behind it, and a person can travel and feel very secure that they are in really good hands booking any of these wonderful tours. So if you'd like to know more, you can always get in touch with me. I am Geraldine the Travel Chick. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. I know this is going to be distributed through our meetup groups, so you can always get in touch. And I'm also, simply by email, Geraldine, Geralyn, Geraldine at travelchicks.ca. And we look forward to, seeing you on the tour. Hope to see everybody soon. And thank you so much, Kim, for being here today.
My pleasure. Let's get back to travel. Yay!
Wonderful.